So this afternoon, we will be talking about 1.2. Okay? So for strand 1.2, this is basically about school planning and implementation. So a while ago with Dr. Sumundong, you have talk about vision, mission, and core values. That is actually very important, no? Just to put it into context, what we are having here, kaning sugod nga strand, kaning domain 1, is all about leading strategically. Okay? So, if you look at it, murag dako kay ni siya og importance in terms of how the PPSH framework works. So, if we look at it, sa ato ang framework for the PPSH, you have to understand that in order for you to become effective in terms of leading people as to school effectiveness, you have to be able to lead strategically. Okay? And leading strategically is a very deep concept. You have to understand that you have to start with the DepEd's vision mission. In fact, if there's one thing that you have to review before you take the test, it is the DepEd mission vision. Because everything that you will be doing, no, is governed by the DepEd mission vision. Okay? So, kung naamang kay last nga review, because there are people who, before they take the exam, ang paagi nila is they don't usually, no, naiuba na to nga wouldn't want to actually do the last minute cramming because their head usually will ache, they will, it will induce panic during the examination. But if you're the type of person who wanted to at least review, the last minute review, if there's something that you have to remember, it is your DepEd's vision mission. And that DepEd mission vision is also governing all the other aspects, no? The way you build connections, the way you develop self and others, the way you focus on teaching, learning, the way you actually manage school operations, the way you do your planning, the way you implement things is governed by the DepEd vision mission. So, importante jud kayo that you put into heart everything that Dr. Sumundong has taught you a while ago because it governs everything you do in the Department of Education. Okay? If you notice in the framework, the Filipino children, no, are the ones at the center. Okay? Pero as in the labor code, kung tanaw nimo, no, the way we actually do things in the Department of Education, sometimes leaders get blinded of the fact that we are learner-centered. No, and we are not teacher-centered. Murag ma-misinterpret nila ba nga, they will just let go and not be aware of teachers' welfare. Now, remember, our teachers are the ones taking care of our learners. Okay? So, if you take care of the teachers, they take care of your learners well. No? So, usa sana, we have to be aware that in order for you to lead strategically, you have to be capable of understanding the mechanics of what you are leading. I would just like to share this standpoint because we are all aspiring to be a leader. The best person who is considered a leader in every school is the school head. Okay? And when you are a leader, you make hard decisions. You also make decisions for the betterment of everyone. Okay? I'm talking about this because leading strategically is our domain. We have to understand that in order for us to lead strategically, we have to be capable of two things, no? Being able to plan things in a microscopic perspective, kana ganing you know the nitty-gritty, okay? And ang ikaduha is being able to plan in a macroscopic, no, view, no? That's another shift that you can do as a leader. You are capable of looking at it in an overall view, no, in a bird's eye view. You know how things work in a more general perspective. You're also capable of knowing the nitty-gritty. Okay? Because if you are not capable of doing that, murag maglisod jud ka og understand sad sa plight sa imong mga tao. Okay? The ability to zoom in and zoom out. No, other books would describe it that way. And some would call that what you call systems thinking. But I tell you, this ability to lead strategically is very important and it is a must learn for all leaders. Okay, na ubang leaders nga grabe ilang pride sa ilang self, they forget about being able to lead people well, no, and to understand the plight of their people. Sa uban nga sobraan rasad og others would actually be very concerned with relationships and they tend to forget that there are results that you have to achieve. Okay? So we call that different kinds of leadership, and it has to be balanced between results-based and relationship-based capabilities of a leader. Okay, so just to give you an idea, what is leading strategically? It's composed of the following: being aware of your depth and vision, mission, and core values, for you to understand, no? And hopefully, I think Dr. Sumundong has shared about VP Sara's announcement tomorrow about the new curriculum. Maybe this will change, no? This will change a little bit of change, but this is more about the curriculum man. But nonetheless, this is a framework. This is our existing framework, and this has been one of the recent issuance. Okay, sa una, before we have actually a different framework, and this time the PPSH is the governing framework, created by NIAP. Then we have policy implementation and review. So you should be able to do that. You should be able to do research and innovation, because the way you make decisions should be based on research, and you should be able to innovate, and to create your own program design if you have to. And kaning learner's voice, you should be able to listen to the learners that you have, okay? And to be able to understand what are monitoring and evaluation processes and tools that you can employ. Okay. But right now, we will focus on school planning and implementation. And hopefully, if the time will allow, we will have policy implementation and review. Okay? So, can you see I would like to actually share this photo with you. Okay? Can you see it? Alright. So, sa man na inyong nakitaan, what do you see? Anong nakikita nyo dyan? Okay. We see a butterfly, right? And usually, what people perceive on us is just before you were just a caterpillar. Okay? Sometimes, we have to. I'm sharing this because I want you to share your insights first. Can you share your insights? If it's okay. We have Ma'am Jen, sharing, but it's a butterfly, But what did the policeman see in the ID? What did he saw there? Okay, we see in the screen that nagduda ang police, the old version of the butterfly. That's correct. So what he saw was the old version of the butterfly. Okay, so I challenge everyone, to actually disappear, and improve yourself for a particular time. Okay, so you have to be able to invest in yourself enough that when people see you again, they find it hard to recognize you. And that is a sacrifice you have to make as a leader. Because when you're a leader, you have to be better than yourself before. Okay? That is a sacrifice we have to make. Because when you're a leader, you have to be better for the sake of your people. Okay? So as early as now, we think about it this way. You are a teacher, Maestra ka when you started, Yun nung simula ka, isa ka lang teacher. You were not taught about leadership when you were a student, even in college. You only read about it in books or even heard stories about it. But right now, you are trying to become a leader. I don't know what's the reason. It could be for higher pay, higher salary, or for the betterment of whatever you are receiving now because you have a lot of loans. That could be a motivation. I would salute you for that. But the thing is, more than anything else, you are here to serve the Department of Education. And you have to make sacrifices now. I've seen people who are, I started as a very young school head. And during my time, I've seen people who I look up to, and I've idolized in many ways. Okay, but sometimes they fail to give importance to what really matters, like taking the examination, spending time to study, investing in yourself, because as a result, sometimes dili na nun ta kapasar sa exam. Okay, but I want to remind you, for those who are here joining us again and again, who failed the examination, I am here to tell you it's not the measure of your worth. Deep inside you is a butterfly about to fly. no? A butterfly that should be there not for you to impress, just to impress others, but there to help other people. Okay? So mo nagingon ba nga sometimes when I was a college student, I remember I was a performer. I was a choir member because I tried to join that choir. I tried to have this choir membership because I wanted to be a scholar. No, magamay-gamay ang bayranan gamay sa eskwelahan. So that's what I did. But I remember when I was about to perform, our choir director told me, told us, no, for you not to be shy in your performance, all you have to do is to think about this. You are there to express, not to impress others. Okay? So the same way with us, no? We are here to express the essence of our purpose in life, which is to help others. Because people find joy in helping others. Okay? And in order for you to do that, you have to be this butterfly. People wouldn't recognize you when they see you again because you have invested in yourself a lot in terms of learning. No, when you talk, you are of different level, and you can only do that if you start listening to us well. No, put into heart well everything we have learned here. Put it into practice. No, serve your people well. Do not be tempted with corruption because that is bad karma. Okay, so remember how this year is the year of bad karma. You know why? Because what will happen this year is that whatever you do now will go back to you very fast. No? So if you invest on good things, no good things will come back to you. If you help other people, then you'll be able to receive a lot of good things. So good news for those who are already helping a lot of people. No? Just continue doing that. Okay, I hope this illustration made you realize something. Huh? I challenge you to disappear for a year. I know you're preparing for the exam. No, stop the fake and the presumptions we have in social media. No, stop looking at all those posts about their success. Instead, no, you look at your own life and invest in yourself. Okay, and you can only invest in yourself if you start focusing on wonderful things, like right here, right now, no, learning something, okay, about our work. Okay, sige, let's continue with this. So, ang 1.2, actually, there are different career stages that you have to understand. In school planning and implementation, the first goal there is to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the phases of the development and implementation. So, you just understand what are school planning, no? What is school planning and what are the things that you have to do. Ang career stage 2, you should be able to develop and implement with the planning team. So, you have to learn to apply it with your people, no? One of the most for me, one of the most challenging part of being a school head is really dealing with people. It's hard to deal with them. No? And in career stage 2, you're expected to be able to do that. Okay? In career stage 3, you have to be able to engage the school community and in the development and implementation of the school. So you need to engage them. No, remember that. Okay? So ang career stage 1 is that you just know. Career stage 2, you'll be able to learn to deal with your people. In career stage 3, you should be able to involve the community. And in career stage 4, you are already a model in terms of implementing school plans. Okay? So, how do we implement school plans? Okay? Dili na tanom ha? Dili tanom. I remember when I went to one of the school, there was a form asked for school plant, no? And the teachers actually, what they did was to measure the height of all the plants in their school. Okay. So, kaning school plant, by the way, is another term, no, we use in Department of Education or even in school management. No? School plant means the facilities that we have in our school. Dili na siya tanom, ha? Basig misuron ninyong lubi sa inyong kuan. By the way, that you will have your separate discussion on that. Pero I'm talking about school plans, ha? The way you plan things in order for you to be able to implement, no, and be aligned to your institutional goals and policies. So remember that you should master the terminologies. Okay. For policy implementation and review, you should be able to understand how policy implementation and review is done. Okay, so as the direct leader of the school, should be able to create policies, no? But remember, our policies should not be, sir, by the way, in RA 9155, I am empowered, no, with all the authority and the powers, the aura, then you will say, I am very powerful, sir, because I am the leader of the school. Remember, as under the executive department, no, the Department of Education, well, you are empowered as the school head, but you should be aware that there are laws and regulations and issuances that you have to follow. Because no matter what you do, you are not the Congress, no, you are not the House of Representatives. You are actually part of the executive department, no. So remember that how we are the Department of Education is part of the executive department. We are under the president, no. Our leader in our department is the president. Now, under the president, there are many departments. Their job is to execute the laws. No, the laws are created by the legislative department, and we are here to implement it. That's why we're called the executive. No, because we execute the laws and the provisions, the regulations, and the issuances. So usually, the policy making ability, like the IRR, okay, naman siguro the implementing rules and regulations are created by the central office. Now, the IRR, when it comes to education, kana ato mga DepEd orders usually, or naagi separate ng IRR, which will be in a form of additional issuances. But the basis for that are actually the laws promulgated by the Congress, no? And ato ang Congress is bilateral na. Bilateral, ha? Tarungo na to pronounce. Kay kuan na siya, natay upper house and lower house, which is composed of the congressmen, no, which represents each of the regions that we have, no, the districts and divisions that we have. And then we have also the Senate, which represents the overall, no, and no, they create the laws. And then we are here to implement those laws. Okay? So, so please understand, no, that's a very important concept. We make a policy because usually what is created by the Congress are general policies, no, of how we do things. Like, for instance, ang RA 9155, no, by the way, you have to memorize this for Strand 1.3, no, my challenge for everyone. Dili gini mawa ang mga RA ngani RA 10533. You search for that. It is the law that promulgated the K-12 education, no? Maybe perhaps nanay kausaban because of Sarah's announcement tomorrow or in the succeeding days, but it is still the existing law, no? It's the law that still governs the K-12 education, no? And then we also have RA 9155, no, the law, the Basic Education Act that governs how we should govern education. Okay? So, kana siya mo na siya mga important nga guidelines. Okay? See, on career stage 2, we have undertake policy implementation and review in school to ensure operations are consistent with national and local laws, regulations, and issuances. So, you should be able to implement. Oh, remember we are not there to create laws. Although you have laws, no, or policies you have in your school, but we are here to implement policies. Okay? So basically, I am hoping, no, whatever will be announced will be something will drastically change, because right now I'm seeing a lot of changes in terms of how we will do education. No, we are now focusing more on academics. But naalagi mga daghang challenges kay even the local executives are the one pushing our students to actually perform, no, extracurricular activities, which is also robbing them from the actual learning time, no, teaching learning time. Okay? Engage stakeholders in improving implementation. So we have to engage them. So sa sa atong pag-implement, no, we should be able to engage our stakeholders and recommend higher authorities the enhancement of policies. So, recommend na kita if there are things that we can do to improve our current policies. The higher stage is that you should be able to recommend, no, especially for our lawmakers. So, again, who are our lawmakers? The lawmakers are the people in the legislative department that includes the congressmen and the Senate. And we, as part of the executive department, are only here to fill in the blanks, no, if as we execute the laws, and that is the work of the central office. But here in the school, we are into policy implementation. Okay, muna usahay moingon sila nga sus noon sa naman ni si Sir, stricto man kayo, very strict with the implementation. No, remember, we are implementing. We are a policy implementing body. Okay, we cannot just bend the rules in our part. But as the leader of your school, you should be able to help them understand that. Okay, that's the essence of being a leader. Okay, so if not now, when? No, when are you going to start preparing for the principal's test? So this is my challenge for everyone. Please prepare. No, I'm happy to see we are already 71. No, why don't you invite your those who were or who already paid for the review, no, especially those who did not pass the examination. Kay basig na atoy lamok ba nya nilihok mog maayo. Oh nya, you were not able to abi na yun sa machine AI nga nag cheating mo bisag dili di ay. So please, no, you will have your chance now, because what will happen during the exam will be, hopefully it will be face to face already, no, in the next exam, because daghang reklamo atong last na examination. Okay, so we are all praying for you. No, my dream actually is to have all principal test school heads be principals. No, I joke. No, that's really my dream. You know why? You know what's the problem in the field? Okay, honestly, these are the top problems in the field. What resources are intended for the learners? Usahay maagi pag corruption. No, it goes through corruption. You know what's the root of corruption? It's when you can't manage your finances well, or you are underpaid. Okay, honestly, when you are a school head, you are underpaid, especially if you don't have an item. Okay, remember that. And you will be more prone to temptation. Ang angayan gid sa to mga school heads tanan, they should be given an item, because that will help them serve better. No, if you don't have problems with money sa imuhang kaugalingon, no, financially, you'll be able to lead people better. But remember, you should be able to do that, no, by also changing your perspective and how you deal with money. Part gina sa to ang trabaho to be better, to become better, because we are here to serve our teachers and our learners. Okay, so right now is the time for us, no, to really learn and to master, no, and prepare for the principal's test. Okay, not by words but by actions. Okay, so let's start with school planning and implementation. Mag-review tagamay sa inyong SIP. Okay, so I'll be talking about the SIP, and I'll try to make this quick, no, because this is a review, no, because everything that we do in the planning actually revolves around the school improvement plan. Okay, let's define the school improvement plan. You know, the school improvement plan is actually dictated by RA 9155, no, the Basic Education Act. So look for the provisions of that law. No, you can search RA 9155 in Google. It will show you all the direction. It mandates all school heads to actually prepare a school improvement plan. Pero what really happened in the field? No, ang resulta is school heads don't really understand how to prepare an SIP. Instead, they just copy each other's SIP. Oh, do you think that's correct? Ato lang we'll just copy the SIP of our co-teachers, diba? Co-school heads. That's very wrong, because the design of the SIP is really in such a way that you will be taking into consideration the context and the situation of your school. Okay? It's a roadmap that lays down specific interventions that a school, with the help of the community and other stakeholders, undertakes within a period of 3 consecutive years. Okay, and this is a very complex process. No, everyone is actually enjoined no to be part of this SIP. Okay, not only you but also others. No, and usually we have three KRAs. But by the way, this has been revised. No, please also read the BEDP, no, the Basic Education Development Plan. This has been expanded, and there are many other. It was beautifully made by Secretary Briones. No, honestly, if you it's a must read. No, you read the Basic Education Development Plan. It's very easy to do to search that. Just go to Google, type Basic Education Development Plan of the Department of Education. You will see the latest key result areas. Nanadere ang giad nato ang ato ang gitawag og resiliency. Kaning gitawag nato nga contextualization, which is the one of the major thrusts that Secretary Briones has seen. The research was very comprehensive. You will be able to see the basis of all the themes, no? And that is how we should improve for the next years. Pero kaning naa sa karaan nga SIP, it's the old no basis for the key result areas. Pero honestly, when if you look at the field, the way they crafted their SIP is still under access, quality, and governance, which is not aligned with the BEDP. No, I'm just hoping other divisions are aligning it already. But kanang BEDP is really wonderfully made, no, because the Secretary Briones is also from higher ed, and he's very good in research. Okay, so tanawan ninyo how it was created, what is the basis for each of the key result areas. Even if you just read the introduction, you will understand that there were themes generated, no, and that was beautifully done. For me, in my perspective, no. So the features of the SIP is this: it should be evidence based, it should be results based, it should be child or learner centered. No, so take note of these features because these are the basic things that you have to have in your SIP. Why is it nga dili ka pwede magsunod-sunod from your colleagues? You're not allowed to do that because it's evidence-based. The evidence that you have in your school are different from your friend's SIP. No, sometimes ang kalayan ra kay ang school ra o ang name sa school head. No, and then ang school head sa di sad mangunay buhat. Okay, so please no take note of these things. As the school head, you should be able to start to be able to know how to craft something like this, no, kaning SIP. Number one, if you don't know actually how to do it, then you have to learn to do it. Okay, kaning SIP. If you are not a school head, a principal, you're just a teacher, volunteer, no, you will do the SIP because this will greatly help you. Okay, that's my challenge to everyone, ha. Okay, you should be results based. Number two, it should be results based. What do you mean by results based? Now, our indicators, usually, the main indicators that we have are like dropout, no, our LARDOS, all these products of the monitoring and evaluation are things that you should be basing, no, all the innovations that you have should be based on these results. Okay, if you fail to do that, you'll not have it results based. Mo na part sa inyong SIP nga gibutang diha school setting, no, school situation. You have a situation here because we will be showing to you what happened. You will be showing to us what happened in your school that led you to create those innovations. Okay, and then lastly, it should be child or learner centered. Okay, so what do you mean by that? You put the learners at the center in your planning. Okay. Okay, so what do you see in the picture? No? Sige, use the chat box. You try to apply the three principles we have talked about. If this is the classroom and you're the principal, how would you create your SIP? Sa kana lang. Okay. What do you think? Okay. According to Ma'am Emilia, no, not conducive for learning. That's really correct. No, do you think? Remember, our learners will be staying there for the next 6 hours. No, 6 hours. Usually from 8 to 12, and then from 1 to 5. No, for high school or whatever it is, lower siguro for kindergarten half day. But can they really stand? No, sitting on that uh, place for hours? No, so there should be no, a lot of things that you have to do, no, in this case. So as a leader, you should also be able to see the pressing condition. No, where are you going to start? And asa ang imuhang i-prioritize? Honestly, it's hard to make a decision. No, it's hard to make a decision on this because there are also more pressing issues, no? So, for example, sa gawas ani di ay wala pay koral, no? So, which is more important, the security or the improvement in the classroom, no? Or whatever it is, no, that will create a better kanang better options for your people. That's why in SIP you have PIAs, no? Priority Improvement Areas. And you should be able to justify why you started with that. Okay? Lisod kay tanan to make a hard decision because our resources are limited. But the thing is, imagine, this is how hard our situation is in the Department of Education. My question is, what will happen if there is also corruption? No? Much more. No? Our teachers will never invest on a school when they know that the resources are also being undergoing corruption, no, being corrupted by those who are handling the money. So ako honestly, I was a high school principal, no. So what do you mean by high school principal? Ano man gud siya, the culture in the high school teachers and elementary teachers are a little bit different. No, I'm not sure if you have observed that, but I'm very observant as to culture. My teachers, when I was the principal, no, they were actually they have reservations in spending money for their classroom. That's for high school. In contrast to elementary teachers, they tend to be very generous, no, with their koan. So what I did, honestly, as the school head, I cannot spend for the classroom yet because I want to make it primary security, no. I start with security first. Kay imagine I am surrounded with a lot of goats, no, no matter how much I plant. no, the goats magsunod gid sila, no, they will be there to eat whatever I plant, so I cannot do beautification. Number 2, water supply is also my priority because can you stay there for 10 hours if you don't have any water to drink? No, not even a water for you to wash. And I was put in a school without electricity. No, so should I beautify that classroom first before electricity? So you have priorities that you can do, no. But what I did, no, was actually to encourage the teachers to really do it, and I am proud to say that I was able to encourage them to really improve their classroom, no, in their own expense. Pero you have to make them feel that the resources that you have in your school are not being wasted. No, that's the secret. Because if you are telling them, "Uy, panindutan mong classroom, you make your classroom presentable, you are the teacher there, you have to invest." And they will discover that the resources that they have, no, the MOE, is not being managed well. Now, you cannot expect people to do things that you don't even do with the resources given to you. So, thank you, Ma'am Joy, for sharing. Same experience, no? Sir Raul, nakadepende gid sa context sa school. Yes, that's really true, no? We have to understand the real situation of the school to make a decision, no? The things that we do in the classroom, naapay mas mga pressing concern. And that idea, no, leads us to a very important concept in the SIP, that we have to understand the context and situation of your school. The more that we cannot copy the SIP of our co-school heads, no, because your context is different, no, from another school. Okay, our situations, the situations of each of the school that we have is different. Okay, So, you have to take that into consideration. Mo na yung number one nga part sa SIP. It is understanding, no? It's understanding the situation. And kaning SBM ang good school-based management, it starts with understanding the context and the community, no? Involving the community in improving the school situation. So kaning SIP and SBM are not really separate entities, no? Ang problema man gud aning DepEd sometimes, no? They tend, even ako even the higher ups sometimes, no, ay na lang ko awaya ha. Sometimes, no, we see that there is a lot of misconception in terms of how to manage it. All the more that I wanted to be here in the Department of Education so that I can actually implement change. But even if you become ASDS, Assistant Superintendent, or even Superintendent, remember, policy takes time to be implemented because of the system itself. No, I've shared that to you. No, policy starts with the legislative department. Laws starts there. It takes time for them to be promulgated. It has to undergo a lot of readings. It goes to the president. It is signed. It goes to the executive department, and then the central office will create its implementing rules and regulations. And change has to be done, no, at that particular level. But nonetheless, in our own level, as long as you don't violate any laws, you'll be able to implement little by little changes, no? Simple lang, no? By not undergoing, by not being tempted, no, in terms of corruption, dako na nagtabang, no? That's a big help already. Number 2, na di gini makapadato ang DepEd because makagaba man good even if you undergo corruption, no, earn extra income, no, from the MOE, still, no, honestly, it will be a money from thin air. It will just disappear from you, no? Gabagabaan din ta because it is a money. It is the money coming from and intended for the learners. Okay? So, ayun na lang, no? Kung basta ingana, I would suggest do not be tempted, because if you are tempted with all these things, remember, you are the school head, no? If you will be taking the role of a school head, you will be the person in charge of this. And oftentimes, ang name na nasa check will be yours. And sometimes we get confident, that's my name. I will take accountability. Ay mo pagbuot. No, I will make the decision in terms of how to spend the money. But the wrong decisions that you make will have dire consequences to your people and to our learners. Okay? So, school-based management, no, starts with understanding your context. Okay? Okay, SIP is an important element of SBM, no? It further devolves governance of education to schools, empowers school teams and personnel, expands community participation and involvement, and makes delivery of education services more responsive, efficient, and effective. So, that is the goal of SBM, no? It's not really merely about preparing documents. The documents are there to prove all these elements, but honestly, SBM is there in simple terms lang, in our own terms, no? For us to understand, we want people to be engaged in the community. We want them to feel that the true owners of the school is the community, no? They are the ones. In Australia, in other countries, in fact, they have a governing board. So, sa tuwa natin, school governing council, which makes the decisions for the school. It actually is composed of people in the community, no, that will help make decisions in the school. We want them to own the school and help them and involve them in improving the school. Okay, if magsalig lang ta sa atong MOE, it's not enough. Now, this school governing council should be involved in the making of the SIP. Okay, as a result, I would like to emphasize this. You cannot make an SIP without involving the school planning team, because they are the representation of community involvement. Okay? So, let's also remember the school SIP guiding principles. No? The SIP shall be anchored on the DepEd vision mission. So, I think it has been discussed by Dr. Sumundong. The SIP shall be evidence and results based, no? Child and learner centered. And then the development of the SIP requires innovative and systems thinking. So muna kung gingon ganina, you have to be able to understand the context of your school and a mindset of continuous improvement. No, something that everyone should have, no, as a school leader. Okay? Katong zoom in, zoom out nako, mo ni akong pasabot. The formulation and the implementation of the SIP shall involve the active participation of all education stakeholders in the school and community. So usually this is the SIP process flow chart, no? Never mind the time there, no? Ang atuan na lang is the flow, no? So first imong buhaton is to gather and organize the necessary data. So very important for it to be evidence-based. Then you form the school planning team. The school planning team is composed of people in the community and representation of all the important stakeholders. Convene the SPT for orientation. So you start with a vision sharing. You talk about whatever Dr. Sumundong has talked about, no, and tell them ask them for their insights. Actually, chapter 1 of your SIP is comprised of the output of your vision sharing. But unfortunately, when I check, no, the SIP as the assistant superintendent is the chairman man for checking on all these things, no. Ako honestly, I really read it from start to finish. Okay? And honestly, maglabad akong because sometimes it gives me headache because grammar pa lang daan, very problematic, no? So, remember, the SIP is your plan for the next 3 years. And if it's not properly done, no, it's very questionable, no? So, you have to ensure that your SIP is presentable, okay? And then in chapter 1, you should place there the output of your vision mission sharing. No, you should be able to explicate what happened and what were the reflections. Instead, what we see there in most of the SIP is just they just restated the DepEd vision mission. No, so please, that's not how you actually do it. Okay, you need to share your documentation of the DepEd vision mission sharing. No, so you may place there the DepEd vision mission just for reiteration and presentation purposes, but it is not the avenue for you to just place there the DepEd vision mission and that's it. No, you share what really happened during the DepEd vision mission. Usually, they don't have anything to write there or even a picture to share because they never really did convene the SPT. No. Wala man, diretso na lang kay, na yung template last year. There was a template already last year. 3 years ago, there was already a template. So, automatically, we just copy-paste it. We don't even ask them to share again what happened, no, or what were their insights of the DepEd vision mission. We just immediately ask them to just copy paste whatever was there in the last year. So please, no, let's stop that culture of copy paste, template based creation of plans because that wouldn't work. No. So next part really is to identify and review the priority improvement areas. So we present school data. No, this is now our situation. This is now our data. These are the information about the school. Remember, there are annexes there that you can use. Okay, so we place it there and we try to make sense of them. Asa kay pinaka-pressing. Okay, and then we have analyzed the priority improvement areas. So we now choose which one is the most pressing concern among the priority improvement areas. Which among them are the most important, no? A very important thing that you also need to notice is if this will be done, which among these has a domino effect into other priority improvement areas? No, we call that one keystone project. Keystone project is if you put it, if you work on it, then it will lead the school to actually expedite other programs and projects. No, I'll give you an example of a keystone project, no, that you can do. For instance, a project for fencing of the school, as in 100% fencing gid sa eskwelahan, will have a very big impact on other factors or other problems. Pero I'm not saying it's a one-stop shop solution for everything. Okay? Na may other schools nga mas dako problema. In the case lang of my school before, I identified that as a keystone solution to many things, many problems I have encountered. Number one, I cannot really put electricity because naikawat sa electricity, no? Ang ipatimbang, etc. They actually get the wires for them to sell it, no, and to have it use it again because there's no fence. In fact, the school was even used before as a drug den. No, I know because one of the CR there, I've noticed was dilapidated, and it has remains of drugs paraphernalia. No, so ingana siya ka worst. Okay, so it's open, no, and kalibunan ang tapad, and I see that there are many areas there, and I have to make it secured good. Number two, there are a lot of goats in the area. So no matter how you plant there or beautify your school, still, no, even if you set up a water supply, no, dali ra gid kawaton siya. So it has a lot of consequences, no. If I start working on other projects, I wouldn't be able to do whatever I've done, no, without really focusing on that main project. Okay? Then while doing that, no, you know how limited your resources are. So you cannot really in your MOE, you cannot spend construction, no? Construction is a no-no in the MOE. Why? Because it's not allowable. In fact, if you look at the definition of the MOE, it's maintenance and operating expenses. No, so when you say maintenance, it's something that you have to maintain only. So uban gay mga school head strategy na lang sa ilang name. They will just put a fence, the wooden fence, and then they will say it's repaired, no, repair it to a better one. But really the best way for you to do that is to tap stakeholders. Now, the good thing is we have the SEF, no? So the SEF from the local government unit, you can always request. And what really entails for you to do that is to tap the barangay, no, have them create a resolution, have it forwarded in the legislative department of the LGU because they also have their councilors there, and have it funded by the LGU. So you have other means to support, no? And your charisma and your ability to involve the stakeholders will actually help you with all these things. So if you are really passionate about that, no, I even stood in front of the the council for them to really understand the possible impact. So your convincing power will really matter. So that is, you have to include that in your priority improvement areas. Plus, you don't have to spend anything because it's for the government. It's from other funds. Okay, so those are possible things you can do, no, as you can do as the school leader. Okay, so you look at your priority improvement areas. You try to analyze which one of them should I start first, wherein I could pour my very limited resources. Okay, so by the way, ako na ning gipang discuss thoroughly ha. All the others will just run through it, but this is how you do it. This is supposedly the flow of your creation of the school improvement plan. So you look at the data. Next is you analyze which one you should do first. And then you also listen to the voice of your learners and other stakeholders. So you try to understand unsa ni situation nila. So you look at them, ask them, are you okay there in your classroom? Sit down in their classroom for the whole day. No, and you will realize how hard it is to stay there without even electric fans or whatever it is. You understand their situation. Okay? And then analyze the school processes. No, you look at your current system. No, is there a step-by-step process in your school already? How did they do things before? And how do you think this should be improved? No? So you even map out their school step-by-step process and system. And then select area of focus. No, you try to understand how where you should focus your limited resources. And then you do root cause analysis. What is really the problem? No, unsa gid problema? Okay? And you have to present that root cause to the SPT. Now, since you have already presented that, you have to understand that the root cause should be the one you should pattern your projects from. Because if you solve the root cause, then you'll be able to solve the general problem. Okay? Okay na kay katanan ani, you'll be able to do that. That's the time you start writing your SIP. Okay. The problem with us in the field sometimes is that we start writing the SIP first, then we just sunod na lang tong uban kay require naman sa nag-check, no? So which is a very wrong concept, no? And then after writing your SIP, you think about how are you going to implement that this time for the whole year, no? For the whole year na sad, for this particular year, how am I going to do it? Okay? So, ingana na siya. Okay? Remember, you have also to formulate your solutions and then develop project designs. Okay? Okay. Very important thing, Sad. You have to test your solution. You know why? Because there are many unintended consequences. Okay? By the way ba, let's mute our microphone, ha? Okay, kanang madungog atong mga bata. Okay, sige, everyone, check your microphone. You can unmute your microphone kung mutingog mo, pero kung nay madunggan diha nga pang Valentine's Day na, ay dili. Sige. Okay. Sige, thank you. Minaw gid mo no, okay. Kuan man na mute man gyud. All right. So, let's talk about the school continuous improvement cycle and the SIP cycle. Honestly, the school improvement plan, if you were to be asked, no, what is the methodology used in the SIP? It is the CI, no? The methodology that we're using is the school improvement plan. By the way ba, I appreciate if you can give your reactions, no, in the chat box. And kanang, just for me to know that you're really listening, no? I'm happy to know that you are listening carefully, no? Because what we'll be talking here are very realistic situations we have encountered in schools. I was school head for 6 years before I became supervisor, no? And sa field manggod, it's really different, no? We cannot really say that it is very easy to become a principal. In fact, for me lang the most challenging job kung imo jud tinudon is really being a principal, no? Because if you're a principal and in our current setting, especially in a small school, mo ni pinakalisod para nako. Because in a big school, okay raman kay daghan man sa kagma sugo ba. Pero in a small school, when you have the same number of reports to submit, and then you are the only person, no, nga non-teaching personnel because others are also teaching, lisod kay tanan, honestly. It's the most the most difficult and overwhelming job in the Department of Education. Okay, so I understand your situation nga sometimes di na mo halos katuon because you are really taking your job seriously. So my salute for everyone who is doing really good at their job, no? Really, it's very difficult, no? Kung imo jud tinudon nimo trabaho, magbasa pa ka sa tanan memorandum in the division level, and you read the DepEd orders because you have napagay teacher nga reklamador. No, there will be teachers asking you and making a lot of complaints about the policy. When remember, tell them lang I'm not a policy making body. No, so that's why it's very important for you also to know the laws and the goodbye ang love life. Wala lagi love life, no, pero kuan sa gid kanang nagi times nga kinahanglan sa tag love life, no. So kuan kanang you really try to balance because it's one of the most difficult jobs in the Department of Education, no? Pero kaniha always kuan lang gid, remember, one of the best things you can do is really to invest in yourself. Okay? Yes, Ma'am Eve, hello, no? Very happy to see you here, Ma'am Eve, no? So that's really true, no? Kaming Ma'am Eve sa una, so nagklase pa Miss Doctoral, classmate ming Ma'am Eve. lisod kaayo ang ato ang trabaho, no? We share, no, our insights being school heads. And really, it's one of the most difficult job in the Department of Education. Kung ako nakasay masad ko nga supervisor ko, yahay gamay, no? Makukuan gamay. Although ang kinahanglan sa supervisor is more on kanang expertise, no? Intelligence ang iyang pangayuon ug maayo sa tuaw. That's the demand sad. Mental nga kanang mental nga effort in our part, because when you are a supervisor, you're expected to be an expert. Okay? But if you are a principal, you have to deal with people which are very difficult to deal. Kakapoy. No, honestly lang, no? And you also need to deal with the outside world, no? Being able to connect. Maybe perhaps because I'm introverted, manggod, and it's really draining for me to when you are introvert, your normal, no, if you are happy and wala lang jud kay kuan, you want to be alone, no? So lalain mo gud tag style, no? Good thing if you're extroverted because you feel very happy, no? Being there, no, interacting with a lot of people. But even introverted people are good leaders, no? Because ang nakanindot sad sa introverted is that they are very reflective, no? Ang extroverted sad is they are, no, very much engaged with people, no? So lalain tag style, no, as a leader. So nindot tong sharing ni Dr. Sumundong a while ago ay when you are following the principles of Sun Tzu, no? Sige, mute sa nato palihog kay kuan na ang mga pang Valentines na hibaw-an na ang mga plano sa Valentines. so agoy sige na. Mo lang na, no? You have to know yourself, no? You have to know yourself. If you know your setting, you know your people, mo na makichika sad ka sa imong mga tao, because that's part of being a leader. In SIP, you are actually doing kuan, kanang you have to gather information in order for you to proceed properly, no? Ako naman sad ko'y mga spy. So you have to learn how to do that, no? That's a tactic as a leader. Pero kanino ako lang sa ni-share ninyo, do not easily believe the first person who will confide with you, no? Because remember this, I will just share this to you as a person na naman sa ko experience about leadership, no? Since 6 years plus karon pa, people will always try to get close to you because of your position, no? And people are always ambivalent about leaders, no? Always remember that. Ambivalence means in just one mistake, no, they will always look for a way to put you down, no? That's the nature of being a leader. You have to accept that. But that's why I'm sharing this to you, because you also need to be informed, no, of the nature, because you wanted to become a leader. Some of you are already leaders. This is an avenue for us to share our insights, no, of being a principal. It's not easy. No, it's not easy. You will be betrayed, no, betrayed. And ako, honestly, I've experienced being betrayed. No, it's really very painful, especially if ang ni-betray nimo is someone you consider as a friend, no, and you have to accept that. No, it's a reality in our position that people will betray you. Okay. But nonetheless, you are not there to heal the wounds of betrayal. No, much more than that, you have a more important mission, which is to help the learners in the Department of Education. Always remember, mo gina ato ang role. And imagine na those will be your kids, no? And your grandchildren who will benefit from your passion about teaching and learning. Okay, so that is what I usually do. No, that's the reason why I created my YouTube channel, why I continue sharing without even being paid, no? Kung honestly lang, no, magdinaw lang jud ko, adto na lang jud ko sa ako ang graduate school, no, nga I am paid 1,000 per hour or even more than that sometimes kay na may bayad. But honestly, it's not all about the money, no? It's all about sharing your expertise so that there will be change, no? And if I have to make change, no, one step at a time lang, one child at a time, then it's something that we have to do. And right now, no, we, Dr. Sumundong, Ma'am Jen, has found a way. No, nga among dream is for all principals test, no, school heads to become principals test passer. Because if that happens, it will create, no, a set of leaders nga mapugos gyud tinarong. Diba mong ano kay sakto mag salary grade, no? You are paid salary grade 19 and that's around 70 or 70,000, diba? Nya karon pag yun, our tax deduction is already lowered, no? In the train law, our tax will be lowered 5%, no, lower than the previous one. So we are praying for that, no? That's the thing I want to do, no? Number one, there will be lesser corruption kay ano mangurap pa man ka nga sakto man ka sa sweldo. Gawas ko magsige kag loan, no? If you continue doing loans, you'll be tempted. So mo na, the problems will come. Pero if you are paid properly lang, no, and you have no problems with money, no, kana tan-aw nimo sa kwarta sa eskwelahan is really for the learners, and that is our dream. And we are praying for everyone to really pass, especially those who are grabe ka deserving, no. Shout out lang nako sa akong mga kauban sa una who are really deserving. Especially I started in Naga. I've seen people who are really deserving to be principals. And also the other members here, no, which Dr. Sumundong really shared are very good school heads. So, no, we are all praying for you on that. So, in relation to that, kaning continuous improvement is really up. Actually, it started in Japan. No, if you look at the ways of the samurai, they don't really stop doing things, no, in order for them to improve. In fact, their real competition is not others, but they compete with themselves. No, this is a philosophy, a mantra that I want you to also adapt, no, because whatever we do here in the Department of Education, it's CI, no. So mayon gani nga, do you have CI in your school? No, we're not beneficiaries of CI. That's actually wrong because you have an SIP. You are mandated to create an SIP. And the methodology used in the SIP is the continuous improvement. It's both a philosophy, at the same time, it is a methodology, no? And how we do it basically involves reflecting on how we do things. In fact, we have 3 major steps. We assess, no? We look at our situation, we gather information, we look at, kamusta naman ni ato ang, how are we currently doing things? And based on that, we plan. No, we plan and then we act na dayon. Okay? Our action should be based on these 2 important steps, which is to assess first and to plan so that whatever actions we make are better, no, on the next cycle. And remember, this is a cycle. It's not a one-dimensional process. We go through this process again and again, and we compete only with ourselves. Okay? And you have to embody this in your life also. No, the way, if you embody this in your life, you'll be able to plan well, no, and execute well. Okay, honestly, let me share. No, I'm also going to, I'm still, no, up until now, I still go to school, no, and study, and I continuously look at how I do things. No, if there are things I can do to improve the way I learn, the way I absorb information. That's how I really reflect, no, and I change the way I approach things by the result of this data and information I get. Okay, so the same with all of us, no, let's actually apply it in our schools, let's apply it in our life, and let's see, no, how much of an improvement it can do. Okay, para when people see you again, they will be amazed of how much you've changed, no, they don't even recognize you. Okay? So, yung ana, no? It will be better, no? So that you'll be able to help more people. Sometimes, in the process, you lose friends, ha? Ako lang na-share, ha? That's a very important also, one thing, sacrifices we have to make. You will lose friends when you become a leader and when you improve yourself. In fact, some of our closest friends will stop you from achieving your dreams, no? Because they are also afraid you will be of a different level, that you will be very far away from them. Okay? So, siguro that could be positive. That's sweet. Okay, Valentine's Day, man. Pero, it's at the same time, no, you have to understand, no, you are called for a mission. You look at the Bible. When the disciples were asked to serve the Lord, what happened? Diba they left their friends, their families. I'm not saying you have to leave your families, no, but sometimes you have to do that in order for you to to touch more lives, no, and to help more people. You are called into a mission. Okay? Sometimes being a leader is like that, no? Although namagit priorities. Ako, I have my children, no, as my priorities also. Okay? So not too far lang sad nga dili na sad ko makakita nila. Pero if you are a third level official, you have to be a little bit far from your family. Okay? So those are sacrifices you have to make. Pero kaning principal, no, di masakita makaingon nga malayo tag maayo, pero you will be transferred to far away school, so malayo-layo kagamay. But you have to take into consideration all these things, no, because we have to make sacrifices, little sacrifices. Okay, but balance is key, no, balance is key. Okay, emphasizes process of learning and continuous improvement. Okay, so remember this, perfection is not the target. The target is continuous improvement. So that's what Yusek Rivera said, no, that we have to continuously improve ourselves. Okay, so ingani ang flow ha, ato naman kung ako na itong i-discuss comprehensively, no, all the things that I've shared a while ago. Okay, so thank you kayo sa inyong mga messages, no. Okay, sige, tinuod yun na. Sir John, Ma'am Jen, no, your comments are well appreciated, no. And I'm happy to know, no, makarelate yun mo kay, I'm sure you are also in the schools, no, and some of you are already leading. So dili gid lalim, no, being a leader. Okay, so you have preparatory activities. So ato ni i-run through lang ha. So una nimo is gather and organize necessary data, then form the SPT. Remember, the members of the SPT, will discuss it later on. Okay, but ang idea here is that you'll be able to have all the information ready before you convene the SPT. Okay, then kaning gather and organize necessary data. So nani sa mga tanan data matrix nga available sa inyo ha, no, all the other forms. But remember, it's not limited to just these forms, no. I remember during my time, I also gathered the attendance of my learners, no, because I wanted to include that in my planning. Okay, sige, alright, okay, sige, magiging para Valentine's ang nadungog, no. Sige, so usay matuslukan manggod ni ang unmute niya, madunggan yan ako inyong pang Valentine's niya nga tabi. Okay, so when you gather data, as much as possible you can have those who are already available and any data that you think is relevant. Ako before, I kataonan kayo, I also gathered data as to the teacher's attendance in the classroom ha. I asked the presidents to, kay high school manggod ni ako, ang high school manggod, we have a challenge sometimes with attendance of teachers kay we are only given 1 hour for our subjects, and I heard that some of the teachers don't even attend this their slots, no. And na may times ka kanilaging school head ka, you're oftentimes invited as speaker, as kanang ako so una firme ko invite sa region because I was a NIA facilitator already. Unya di man sa ko kabalibad niya, ako ang superintendent issued a travel order, so I cannot say no. So night times ka wala ko. I heard that some of the teachers are not really attending, so I gathered all this information and I showed it to them, pero wala sa nako pa kawawi ang mga teachers, no. Naa siguro kay uban nga gipatawag, but some of them I just showed the overall data, no. So that's also your way, no. During flag ceremony, please do not put your teachers in a bad light, no. During flag ceremony, you are usually there are principals like that, no. When they get hold of the microphone, because of their intention really to to help the learners, sometimes they put the teachers in a bad light. So just remember, no, nga you have to be very calculative with your actions, because if you cause people to be offended, no, and not in the proper way, gawas kung sige nagbalik-balik nga. Even the person will say nga, kasabot ra ko, I understand why the principal is angry because I have done it again and again, which is not good, and he is only concerned of my safety, no? So just make sure, no, nga you also take into consideration your people, no? Because your people, your teachers also take care of the learners. Okay? So gather this information, and then you can also include them in your excuse me, in your planning. No, tips in the gathering data. So please include these, no, information. In our case, we already have that in the DepEd order. You just have to access the appendix, no. So most of them are revolve around the themes: governance, access, and quality. Okay. Then we have the child mapping tool. Okay. Then we have the child-friendly survey, also include that. Okay. And then you include all the possible information. Okay. So these are all the things you have to gather. Then you form the SPT. So who are the members? So please memorize the members, ha? We have student representative, teacher representative, parent representative, barangay LG representative, member of the BDRRMC, no, and then member of the disaster risk ni siya, the member of the school child protection committee, barangay LG representative, and you can have at least one of your members should be a member of the SGC. Okay? So you can also add more members. So kanira siya pwede ma-add. NGOs, indigenous people if they are there, no, school alumni, representative of the communities. Also choose those people who are capable of really providing inputs, no, and being able to contribute to possible projects that you have. So the more you involve them, strategy man gud eh. The more you involve them, the more chances that they will actually sponsor your koan. So strategy lang na. So ilan na lang yung una daan nga. They have to be included in the planning so that when you implement your project, they can sponsor something or they can actually propose something that can help you further your cause, no, and help our learners. So they will see the problems in your school. At the same time, they will think, maybe I can help here, no. So remember, we have adopt a school program wherein they will be given tax exemption, no, and they will be able to help them also with their business. So please, no, be strategic, no, always include them in your planning, because if you don't involve them, kamukha say kayo rin lang yung magso-solve ng problema nyo. So that's really a problem, no. So please, no, include them as much as possible. Okay, so form the SPT. It should be gender balance. There should be representation, list of members. Then you convene them. So make your documentation, post the DepEd vision mission, talk about the vision goals and targets, school strategic goals. Okay, and then very important also is try to be creative. Think of reflective activities that will engage your SPT. So try to involve them, no, because they only have limited time. Okay, make sure there is a clearly stated objective. So when you start, you talk about the purpose of the meeting and expectation of what outcomes aligned deliverables will be. So remember, they are to give their insights as to the DepEd vision mission. Yeah, take into consideration the context of the school, and very good input niya as someone to document the meeting, because the documentation here will be attached in your chapter 1, no, of your SIP. Okay, next, recap the discussion and restate any decisions. Guide the group to discuss what the next steps are, no? So recap the question and restate any decisions. When a member needs to be absent from a meeting, he or she may send a substitute who can speak for him or her. Okay, so when you convene the SPT for orientation, vision sharing, and scheduling, it should be done, no, and it should be performed good, no, because most of us usually miss this step. Okay, Okay, so talk about roles and responsibilities. So that's the next part, no? You talk about their possible roles and responsibilities. Remember, as the members of the SPT, you are also there to do the monitoring and evaluation. So you have to invite them every now and then to look at the projects. Okay, remember that, ha? There will be project teams created. And the ones that will validate it will be the members of the SPT. So they are not members of the project teams anymore because they will be the one to evaluate, no? So give everyone a chance to share their ideas, no, facilitate and synthesize. Okay, so vision sharing, there's only one vision, mission, and core values. It's important to internalize this one vision, mission, and then let them apply that in our context. Okay? Okay, so money atong buhaton, there's a planned schedule here. Okay, by the way, we'll be sharing this PowerPoint to everyone, ha? Okay, don't worry. Okay, number 2, you are now in the next step. The next step is to assess, no? In assess, again, this process only involves you analyzing the current data that you have. No, when I say current data, you are trying to discuss information and try to look at possible um, obstruction of the information you have gathered. So this is in relation to two things, ha? Being evidence-based, and number 2, being results-based. Okay, so those are the two characteristics that we're fulfilling here. Whatever you do should be based on the context and situation of your school. Okay, so inyo nang i-analyze. Okay, so trying to understand also that there are two things here. We want the school to bridge as to two different steps. First is the current state of the school, and then the desired state of the DEDP. Okay, so kanang desired state, no, that is actually the ideal state that you wanted to do. Okay, so this is school performance, no, division targets, and then these are the information that are available here, no, and then the projects implemented. Okay, so these are the possible things you can do. You look at inhibiting factors. Some of the inhibiting factors. These are the factors that you think, no, are stopping the improvement of such target. Okay, so you can use this form. Okay, like for instance, you have the dropout rate there. What do you think is the problem behind having all this? Now, honestly, if you look at the national achievement test, most of us really fail, no? And if you look at the PISA results, we are in the bottom 2. Okay, and the promotion rate is high, no? Patay na, very high promotion rate, but all of them got low on the MPS. Actually, we see here very conflicting information, no? We have to ask ourselves, why is it that promotion rate is actually high, but if you look at those who are promoted, they are not really at par with the standard, no, because the standard is 75%. So all these things are things we have to be reflective upon. Honestly, kani ako na ning gitanaw ning mga current scenario now. Tinuod jud ako ang prediction that the pandemic has caused us a lot of damage more than expected. You know why? Because honestly, there were a lot of information showing us na even those grade 3 learners, no, cannot read, no. So we really failed, honestly, no. There was a failure in our part in terms of the pandemic, and we now see the repercussions of what happened during the pandemic. Okay, and then our tendency really is to just allow learners to pass without even allowing them to pass through a standard. So right now, I hope there will be changes tomorrow. Mag-atang tatanan, ha. Let's listen to our secretary and let's see if there is really some hope in the way we do things, no? Especially in the curriculum side. Okay, because honestly, in my part, when I was a principal, I am very concerned with classes, no. Mo ganina nga I only have the only school in Naga during my time with CCTV cameras in the classroom, no. Inga nakagrabe sa una ako ang passion for having classes good during time, no. And then my passion really is to have all learners in school from 8 to 5 good, no, because honestly, if they are not in school, it will be very problematic. They will not learn. No, they will just go in the internet cafe. No, what I did was to give them free snacks. No, if they have 100% attendance up to the afternoon session. So those things are very important for me. And right now we see that there are many extracurricular activities, no, causing our learners to be out in their school, in the classroom, no, causing problems. And yet much more now nga walay standardized nga exam who can measure their performance. Okay? And then kana lang, basic lang, bisa grading lang, no, maabot og grade 3, grade 4, they cannot even read. So these are problems, no, that we see, no, sa curriculum side. Okay. So try to analyze all these targets and try to see, no. Dropout rate. Dropout rate could not be equated to repetition rate, no, because it could be that students are not dropping out, no, they might be fail, but they are not dropouts, no, they just repeated, no. What now is the best direction of the Department of Education? Would it be something, no nga, sometimes mo good if we just allow them to pass, it will cause problems because they will be put in a situation wherein there are missing competencies, but they were promoted, no? And they are in a crowd which is supposed to be, if you put them in the higher level, like for example, grade 4, expectation is they know how to read now, or grade 3, they should be able to read now, but their classmates know how to read, and then you pass a person who doesn't know how to read, and they are in a crowd wherein everyone is supposed to read. That increases, ako personally, if you really analyze it, that will lead for learners to, no, ikaw kuno, you are placed in that situation, di ba? Di ka maikog, di ka maulaw, no? So the tendency is you will drop out more, no? Because you were promoted when you were undeserving to be promoted. So in the next level. So I don't see sometimes, no, the essence of allowing learners to just pass just because we have a pandemic. Let them pass because we have a pandemic now. No, sometimes it's something kanang, it's just mere avoidance of our responsibility nga. Let's just pass them because we have a pandemic, not knowing it will have dire consequences to the ego of the child, no? Imagine you are here in this classroom wherein everyone can read, and then you don't even know how to read, no? And you will just say, undang na lang ko because I don't know how to read. So I'm just thinking out loud, all these indicators that we see now, and I know, no, the Vice President, VP Sara, is actually looking at this because these are pressing problems of our educational system, and information has already reached them regarding this. Okay? Sige, salamat sa intermission number. Okay. So this is how you actually do it, no, if you want to analyze. Okay? So anyway, that portion is not being presented in your SIP, but you can Valentine's Day na sa right. Okay. Yes, actually sakto na, Ma'am Joy. Wala ragyoy failure, but the problem is the parents don't even na ay mga sayo pag-implement ba, no? So makita na tong repercussions karon na, well, in fact we see learners who are promoted nga wala di ay, no, kaya ang ga-answer ato mga ginikanan di ay, no? So dali ra ba yan sira ng module, mahuman lang, no? So write down the results of the discussion and come up with the initial list of improvement areas. So mo ni inyong output, group related or similar problems. Okay, so mo na ato ang buhaton. And then, later on, ang next step ani is you look at the gap analysis template in Annex 3, no? And then review the list of improvement areas. Okay? So, very important that you don't miss a step, no? Because the next step, the output of this particular step is the input for the next step. Okay? Present and discuss the information. So, Next is to identify and review priority improvement areas. So, the PIAs na ni siya. Okay, so the priority improvement areas are areas that you have identified or the gaps, no? Pressing problems in your school nga nang gawas. Okay, so nakanindot aning SIP, I've already mentioned it. You have to grade all these PIAs as to the following. So, criteria, strategic importance. Asang kanimo na kung yung ganina, keystone nga importance niya. It means that if you address it, it will have a benefit for other areas, no? Number 2 is urgency. So urgency is you need to improve this as soon as you can because it will have dire consequences. Magnitude, how many will be benefited? If you implement this, how many will actually feel the effect of such project? Feasibility, kaya ba na or too ambitious? Okay? So you have to also consider things that are under your control. Okay, gaano ta mag-idea gamay ha? Lowering the dropout. Pangutan na, is that 100% under your control? Oh, that's one of the indicators sometimes nga dili sad under your control all the time. Because you cannot control the health of the person. You cannot control their financial capacity. You cannot control their family background, no? So all these things are known to be one of the drastic factors that lead to children dropping out. So this is not 100% under your control, lowering the dropout. But in our case, there is a factor in dropout that is under your control, and that is the school aspect, no? So kanang school aspect sa dropout, pwede na nga naay terror kay nga teachers, no? Which causes learners to feel bullied inside the classroom, no? Ang nagbully ang teacher na. So those are things that you can control. Things that I shared a while ago wherein you just pass a learner, the teacher just passed the learner for fear of the school head. Kaya ang school head during their SMEA, gikasabaan sa supervisor because the supervisor wants all the learners to be passed. No? So the school head, no, on the other hand, also did the same to his teachers and informed the teachers nga you have to pass all your learners by 4th grading. And they forget what is written in DepEd Order 8, which is to conduct necessary remedial classes to those learners. Yeah, plus pa, the superintendent doesn't want to give additional remuneration for time spent in remedial classes because according to the superintendent, you should be the one suffering because you failed your students. No? So those have a lot of repercussions, no? Domino effect na sa atuang system. And we see that as a result, the learners are the ones deprived of the necessary remedial classes they are supposed to have during that particular time. No? And the teachers, no, let's assume the teachers really find that those learners are not really deserving to be promoted, but wala siya choice because he has to promote them. Okay? If he doesn't promote them, ang resulta is he will have to spend time during summer wala siya bakasyon without compensation pag yun. So you see, no, these are kanang possible repercussions of our actions pa. Okay, so I hope you also understand. No? I'm just sharing this because these are problems in our system. Okay? And ako honestly, I've even seen this in the divisions, no, that I have went into. Okay? In my own little ways, no, through my research, to my kuan, I've started preaching about it. No? So, lisod kay tanan if the system wouldn't change. Pero as per issuance lang, the issuance never told us to just automatically promote. You read DepEd Order 8 series of 2015 because that's still the governing law for assessment. Okay? So, ato na siyang i-revisit and you have to be masters on that. Okay? A very good example lang ha. Okay, gawas ba na. By the way, in the principles test, you will be even asked to compute the grade of the learners. Tagaan mo grade, no? So you should master DepEd Order 8, no? I-write down na ninyo. Write DepEd Order 8 series of 2015. That's the governing law on assessment. I also have the interim guidelines for the pandemic, but I think we will have to revert to the DepEd Order 8. Wala na special class, no? Wala na mga kaning gitawag nila og ganing na ay bata nga naalan siya subjects that he has to take, no? Actually, that's wrong, no? You read DepEd Order 8, you will realize that if a child fails the remedial class, he will have to answer or take the subjects all over again, even the subjects that he has passed, no? So you read DepEd Order 8 because it's written there. And sometimes the old guidelines are the ones implemented, no, in our current curriculum. So please, no, nag-change na lang curriculum sayop gyapon ang gi-implement sa schools, no? And it's very important for schools to be following that. Okay. So we have here the rubrics that we have to use. So ato tong graduhan ang mga PIAs that we have identified as to strategic importance, urgency, magnitude, feasibility. By the way, here you will be the one deciding what is the most urgent, what is the magnitude, what is the feasibility. No one will be doing it for you. So you really have to know the definition of strategic importance, urgency, magnitude, and feasibility. Palihog lang. Understand those. No, I've already shared it already. Okay, and that will help you identify which of the following priority improvement areas will you do first. Okay, and then you have to fill this up. Okay, and then proceed to activity 2.2. Okay, review the PIAs listed in the planning worksheet. So the priority improvement areas, you just have to choose, and then you try to see which one of them are the most important. Okay, so ana ra siya. When you create your objective, please make it SMART, no? SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, results-based, and time-bounded, no? And then you set your general objectives. Okay? So here we see possible general objectives. Did you notice? General lang overview, ha? When you set objectives, they could be general, but still they should be specific, no? Math scores of grade 3 students improved by 15% from year 1 scores. Basta ang inyong answer here, if you answer here, math scores will improve, wrong na nadaan. No? You have to be very sensitive with being specific with your indicators. Because if that is something very abstract, like you will just say, improve in particular time, that will be considered. Okay? Okay, so just be mindful, no? Just fill up this form, okay? And you should be able to look at how to create objective statements. This is your format, no? The form that you can use. So you can ask yourself, what do you want to do specifically? How will you do it? So measurable siya. Is it within your power to accomplish? Attainable siya. Okay, if it's not within your powers to accomplish, then do not make it as your objective. It should be realistic, no? Or result oriented, no? And then when exactly do you want to accomplish it? No. So you have a deadline for it. Okay, sample general objective, ha? Kabantay mo very specific. In 3 years. Pero sa AIP ninyo dapat in 1 year na siya. Okay, AIP naman siya. Okay, take note, ha, in your annual improvement plan, dapat good for 1 year sa dimong target. Okay, so by the way, you will have this slide, so just make use of the forms lang. Okay, organize your project teams this time. So kaning project teams will be the ones dealing with each of the PIAs. Okay, by the way, ang project team dapat dili siya part sa SPT. Okay, they should be different from each other. Okay. Listen to the voice of learners sa imo sa paminawon. What is their comment about that priority improvement area and how can that be improved? So you listen to them. No, by the way, ha, when we are doing FGD, please do not attempt to lecture or to preach anything. The FGD is a research tool, no? It's a research tool that will help you make the right decisions as to how to approach a particular situation, no? And it's not the time for you to make lectures and to actually preach to the people about something. So, palihog lang, FGD is not a time for us to educate people. You are there as a researcher to gather information about the PIA. So you have to be objective. Do not be emotional with the response. Mingon sila, wala bati mo gud kayo ang style ni kuan na makadungog ka na, and then you are also the leader. So usay sakit paminawon, but as much as possible, do not be the one to do the FGD, no? So that's a strategy that you can use. Okay, so maminaw ra jud ka unsa ilahang mga opinion ana, and how do they improve that? Okay, so this time you analyze the school process. So unsa di imong step-by-step process and overall flow? What is the control flow, the start, the end, the decision mode, the waiting? So you can diagram them. Okay? So pwede nimo inganion. Okay? And then you can brainstorm, conduct interviews, directly observe the process. Pwede. This is the sample process map. Unsa di una buhaton, sa sunod, unsa. How about you? What is your way of checking the attendance of the learners? Why is it that many of them cut classes? No? So you try to analyze that. Then tanaw nimo nagi problema sa ilang system o process, you create storm clouds, no? So pwede nimo buhatag storm clouds diri, no? That's an example. Okay, and then you review, analyze the school process, then you select an area of focus. Dayon. Okay, selecting an area of focus so that you can deeply analyze the context. So katong sa PIA nimo, asa man diha nga area ang dapat imong fokusan, no? Or do you want to improve the whole process and to remand the whole process? Okay. So makita na nimong area of focus. Okay? And then on that particular area of focus, you do root cause analysis. Okay? Ang root cause analysis, no, just to help you understand, there are many underlying problems. Now, what you see usually are only those who are seen above. But underneath, there's a root. No? There are underlying causes. For every effect, there is a root cause. Find and address the root cause rather than try to fix the effect, as there is no end to the latter. So if you fail to break the root cause, then it will cause more problems later on, and you will not be solving the problem. Okay, so mo na itong buhaton, tanaw na ito unsa gi pinakakuan. Mo na akong giingon nga kinahanglan the eyes of a leader should be able to dig deeper, no, understand deeply the current situation. Okay? So, pwede mo mag fishbone technique, no? This is the fishbone technique, the YY diagram, no? You can consistently ask yourself why, and then why, and then why, no? And then you'll be able to arrive, no? So, pwede YY, pwede problem 3. Okay, kani problem 3 na isa ni siya kay imo ra siyang i-analyze kung unsay mga possible factors, no? So try to, if you can use statistics, no, or information or data that you can use to identify the root cause, the better. Okay? The PT undertakes a root cause analysis for problems identified for year 2 and 3. Okay? So this is how you do root cause analysis. Pwede nga ni mo. Okay, so I think you have mastered this, pero ang uban lang go dili gid buhaton, no? Failure to do it will lead you to solving a problem without really looking at the root cause. Okay. Sing ana siya. Phase 2 na ta, ano ta sa plano. So, let's summarize ha. You identify the PIAs. Next, you tried to do the root cause. You tried to see how would you prioritize the PIAs themselves? So, tanan sila, priority improvement areas na siya, all of them, but you try to determine which one of them you should do first, no? Considering you have limited resources and etc. After that, you try to listen to your stakeholders, try to listen to the learners, what is their voice, no, what is their opinion, and then you also did some root cause analysis. You try to identify which area you would want to focus, and then you do root cause analysis in order to understand the phenomena better. So, imagine, you already have a complete understanding of the problems and context and situation of your school. This will be your basis in creating your situation there. No? And then, after that, you understand the situation there, that is chapter 2, you'll be doing your plan this time. Okay? Under plan, you'll be doing the following. Maghimo gyapon ka general objectives. And that's the time, no? Because you already have a good idea. By the way, template lagi. But what is important is the flow, no? You understand the root cause and you understand everything there, no? And then this is where you try to formulate the solutions. Okay, imagine you already have a good idea of your situation, and your particular context, no? Then you listen to your people. That's why you have to create solutions now. Okay? Sige. So, this time you'll be able to formulate solutions already because again, you have already a complete idea of the situation. You have exhausted all means. Grabe, sigurista. You have asked the people, your learners, you did root cause analysis, no? Now, let me ask you, did you really do that for your SIP? Did you do the same for your SIP? So, if you miss some of them, no, it's the time to actually do it, no? For your next SIP for the years, try to do it. Okay? Because that will capacitate you to really make the right decisions. Okay? So, in formulate solutions, you consider, no, the root cause, no? You should understand it is within your control to solve. It should be economical, no? Not too expensive. I've seen plans which are very expensive. If your plan requires a lot of perfect things to happen, you are really planning to fail, no? Like for example, they had a plan there, the budget is 1 million, and then I asked them, do you have 1 million? And then their answer is, sir, for that to happen, you still have to conduct a lot of stakeholders engagement, no, etc. So if the plan requires a lot of things to be done, you are actually planning to fail, no? A plan should be simple enough to actually do it, no? A plan should also be flexible, no? In a sense that you have to take into consideration that in reality, not everything will go in terms of how you wanted it to go. That's how you actually look at possible solutions. It should be sustainable, should have support of the concerned stakeholders and process owners. Okay. Very good, Ma'am Gay. So, ang timeline lang sa SPT, that's correct. Okay? Timeline for the SPT, sometimes mapikin na tagmaayo, no, in doing it. But, actually, if you start doing your SIP now, you are a little bit late, no? Because it was supposed to be done last year. Okay, it is a plan and then we are done with the whole year already. Pero, anyway, it's better to be late than to have it in such a way nga murag dili gyud siya compliant sa iyang standard. Okay? So, you have to plan properly as much as possible. Okay? Anyway, if you are assigned to a new school, you can always revise the SIP, no, to fit your more for example, more intuitive concept kay gikan man ka sa F&G Learning Hub. You were trained to do the SIP better, no? So, if you think ang SIP niya kinupya ra and then it's not really compliant to the context of your school, then you have it approved again, no? You try to propose that it is something not in compliant to the plans that you have for the school. And since you are the new school head, then go ahead and kanang revise it. List of possible solutions. So you have to list down all the possible solutions. Okay, and then we have developed your project design. Okay, so this is your project design now. Okay, this is the format. New problem statement. By the way, the problem statement is different from the general statement of the problem. Moni ang problem nga ako makita sometimes, no? The problem statement is just a very tanawa ninyo. It's now looking at how it was erroneously checked. No, the general statement is more on the indicators. But here, the problem statement revolves around the context of that storm cloud that we have identified. So the issue here revolves on that. And it has been known to be one of the root cause. So if you notice, the problem statement revolves really on addressing the root cause. Okay, so muna siya. That's why ang project design mo should be able to address the root cause as much as possible, the storm clouds that you have identified. Okay, so ingana na ang project. And the project should be divided into 3, no, for year 1, year 2, and year 3. kaning project's target for year 1 will be reflected in your AIP. And the targets there are not for 3 years. No, that's one of the common errors. In the AIP, they write the general statement of the problem for the whole 3 years. And remember, that's annual improvement plan. So those are the common mistakes we have seen. Okay? So also the budgeting, no? Okay, so more na siya. And as much as possible, you integrate that with your results-based performance management system or the RPMS, IPCRF. So everything they do as a team there in their project should be reflected, no? For you to align all those processes. Okay, kita na sad, we treat each program in silo, no? We tend to think of it as separate entities when in fact they are actually connected. Okay, lastly, you write the SIP na, no? So write the SIP na. That's the thing that you need to do now. So executive summary, introduction, these are the parts. K to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 to 12. These are the context and situationer. And then governance and monitoring and evaluation. But I think there's a more latest format on this. Tanawan niya to ninyo. No? I can provide you with a copy. It's there in the Google Drive. Okay, kay inihatag magud ang central office og format nila, no? At imo na lang ilis-ilisan og mga title and then your content. Okay. Sige, thank you for the intermission number. Then we have introduction, school situation. Okay. Oh, by the way, in the monitoring and evaluation, this is actually very important. Who will conduct the school, when and how to regularly conduct the school monitoring and evaluation? Remember, kabantay mo na yung SMEA, di ba? In your SMEA, it's very important that you integrate the indicators of your SIP during SMEA. That is school monitoring and evaluation. So actually, the whole bulk of the SMEA should not be all about the indicators asked by the division office. It should be the indicators that you have identified in your school improvement plan. So usually this is my good and best practices that we do. We ask the project leader to report during the SMEA. And the good thing about it is all the SPT members are also there during the SMEA. Kasi sila rin maghapon yung members sa mga stakeholders maghapon. So they will be there and they will be able to evaluate. That's the time they will evaluate the progress. And that's the time we create changes in the plan. So the plan here, the SIP, is actually a working plan. It evolves into a further continuously improving plan for us to adjust the implementation. So pareha na mo na may program sa unang gitawag na mong index card system. Ang mulang to gitawag index card system, but every child actually has an index card with a picture in it. That every time there are offenses, like cutting classes or we have findings about this child, we place it there, and then we have monitored. That is our school improvement plan project that we did. As a result, ang mga estudyante, they don't want to cut classes because the next teacher will know the whole history of that particular child. And we also wrote there all the interventions we have conducted for that particular child. So number one, although it's purely confidential in our part, during our SIP, because during my time in our school, ang among target is really to save all the learners. Mo gid among target. So naa dito ang barangay captain, mga counselors, and we even show to them the learners who are frequently cutting classes and kanang mga lardos namo at risk. So we ask them if you can help us with these learners to really encourage them to go to school. Okay, some of them are not really serious about kuan, and some of them have problems with financial resources na. So naa dito sa information sa index card system. And as a result, there were sponsors, some of them nakarealize nga wala di sila sapatos to go to school. The counselors will sponsor their shoes, their uniform. And it's really, when you look at the SMEA, it's really a process by which everyone is accountable to really help the learners finish whatever they have started. And we wanted to keep them in school. So we look at the system, and how do we improve? Okay, I'll share to you what we did. Idea of one of the counselors. Every hour, we have teachers who will do the roving. So ang mo dungan sa roving, no? After doing the roving, we will run around the community. Especially, we look for learners who are not in school nga nawala. And then we also ask the counselors to help us, no? The barangay tanods to help us. And the barangay captain was very supportive with the program. In fact, he will be the first one who will roam around the internet cafes in the neighboring areas and look for these students who just disappeared, no, who are cutting classes. So you see, you are building a community who are accountable and very concerned with the progress of the school. And every child is given importance, no? Pero actually, we have different problems man. Lain tang problema, naiuban ninyo nga walay cutting classes nga problem. But during my time, that was the problem that I've seen I wanted to focus on. Because what will I do with the school nga nindot kay tanan without even having the learners inside the school? So that's the first thing. I want them to keep them in school. So you have to look at your initiatives. What are your problems? What are your pressing concerns? What are your priorities? And you involve the people in the community about this. You talk about it every grading period. No? Okay, usually we don't have any initiatives at all in the school. We are very dependent with the division offices, regulations, and then ang ilang i-require ng mga indicators which are not relevant in our school setting. So during that time, school monitoring and evaluation, you start with your problems first. And later na nang sa division office, no? Because sometimes it's not even relevant. No, our barangay captain, our stakeholders will just sleep during our SMEA. No, if they don't find it relevant, no? Especially in the technical part. Just summarize everything. Most of the subjects, kani ang problema, math is the problem. How can we help them? No, so those are the things, no, that we can do. Okay, so school monitoring is all about school monitoring and evaluation and adjustment. It's not all about the data required by the division office, no? And engage your stakeholders good. And then present your SIP problems, no? So that they can improve, no? Whatever we have. Okay. Phase 2 plan, prepare the AIP. The AIP is just a miniature version of the SIP. And this time, it is all about the annual improvement plans. Okay, and how you are going to plan to implement your SIP. So again, my suggestion is really to adjust your school monitoring, evaluation, and adjustment. No, integrate it with your SIP. Revisit your SIP. Let the project leader report the progress of their projects, no, and grade them based on that. And then if you need to adjust the plans, adjust the project plan. So for you to have really a real SIP, not just an SIP, no, na confined only with the hardbound copy sent to the division office. It should be a working plan. It should be complete, clear, and concise, consistent, evidence-based, and relevant. Okay. Summoning app. Okay, you already have your plan, so you test your solution. So test your solution. Sometimes, there are times that, sometimes when we create plans, we tend to have what you call unintended consequences. So you have to test the solutions first. And then if it works with a small portion of people and there are no problems, then you can roll out the solutions. Now, ana ato ang paagyan na ha. Okay, sometimes parehan iba. I heard about very particular innovation karon. Gitawag na comprehensive sexuality education. Have you heard of that? It's called DepEd order na comprehensive sexuality education. That is the version of sexual education or sex education now. No, and the intent really of the DepEd order is to just integrate the concepts in sexuality in the following subjects. Kindergarten nga subject, di ba nila subject, no? Basta kindergarten nga level, naa na sila. Naa sa science, naa sa English, naa sa science, naa sa ESP, and naa sa araling panlipunan. Now, the problem with that, especially sometimes, what if the teacher is not capable, no, nabi teacher gid nga, the way he talks about these concepts about sex, etc., might be offensive for the learners. Okay? So it has to be taken into proper context. No? Because sometimes our solutions might actually worsen the problem. Pareha bitaw na to. We want our learners to be in school. So we measure dropout rate. ang resulta na noon, all the teachers are now passing all the learners just to avoid very low dropout rate or low failure rate without knowing nga we are passing learners who are not deserving to pass the subject. Okay? And we are not even doing the necessary remedial classes. Unsay resulta? We have learners who will take the PISA and then they will get very low grades. If you let them take the NAT, they don't even reach the 75% threshold. Okay. So, muna ang resulta na sa atong mga policy. Policy sometimes has good intentions but we have wrong implementation. Ang resulta is unintended consequences. And that does not happen only here in the Philippines, no? Kamusad in your policies, remember that, no? As a leader, when you implement a policy, you always look at possible unintended consequences. Okay, wala ni mo tuyo but this is the result. No, this is your intention but ang result lain. Okay? So, what if, no, ang teacher na noon will encourage the learners to do sex instead of stopping them from doing that? For example, sa science ka subject, they will talk about the sex organs and how to stimulate the sex organs, etc. And then, in the process of speaking about that, they fail to do the valuing, no? Nga, it might be very engaging, it might be stimulating in your part, but these are the consequences. You might cause, you may create learners, no? You may create a child in the process. Now, are you ready to be a father or a mother? No? So, failing to connect it with all those concepts might actually lead the learners to be more encouraged to do sex instead of, no, stopping them from doing sex. And the intent of comprehensive sexual education will not be done, no? Muna gitawag unintended consequences. Okay, another possible repercussions kay kita man god as leader, makita gid nimong repercussions. Mag-roll out na ka. Sige i-integrate ninyo kani dapat i-integrate ninyong comprehensive sexual kaning CSE education sa inyong class. It's a must that you need to integrate. Now, as the teacher integrate the concepts, now what are the possible consequences? He might mention the term, no? Okay, so, kinalam mo gina mo i-mention. Mayon ka sa amo Cebuano, we call it buto, we call it utin, ana. So that's how we call it. Okay. Now, what if the child will get offended, no? And it will come out to the person as bastos, no? Remember, we have RA 11313. No? If the thing comes across to the person as bastos, especially for a child, no, it has repercussions. Okay? So, we have to be very sensitive as to how we roll out our solutions. So, basically, what are the things that we need to take note? So, when you test your solutions, you look at the possible consequences, the unintended consequences, and the possible repercussions. Okay? And then, that's the time, sure na gani ka nga, minimal lang ang mga unintended consequences. That's the time you roll out the solutions. Okay? I hope that's clear, ha? Then, check the progress of the AIP. Okay. So, okay. That's where you act. Okay, and then you have project monitoring report. This is what the team will actually rate, no, in your SMEA. So allow the SIP team or the SPT team to fill this up, no. This is filled by the project team, the PITA, and then this will be discussed by the SPT and project team. So recommendations nila during that time. Okay, klaro na. Check progress of the AIP. Then kanisha, you need to create your SRC. The SRC is an embodiment of your current indicators. If there are improvements, place it there. And then you communicate the SRC. Make sure that it is database, and then you be showing the information, the improvements. And it is a brochure. No, it could be a brochure. It could be anything you want. It could be a document, no, for allowing them to see the current progress of your school. No. Very important lang before I end, would like to remind everyone, no, that planning might be a very long process. No, if you look at how we do our SIP, it has a lot of nitty-gritty part. No, but honestly, if you look at research, the time that you spend for planning actually saves you 40% of the time of your execution. Okay? Although you might be spending 20% of your time for the actual execution, you might be wasting it. But remember, you are saving 40% of your execution because the moment you plan, no, you'll be able to the thing that you wanted to be accomplished is always almost halfway done. Okay? So a very important skill that we have to learn is actually planning. No, I would like to encourage everyone to do your planning well as a school leader. Okay? Not because planning is required. Ayaw mo na ha. Oftentimes we just say, it's required. No, it's for the sake of doing it. No, and it's required by the division office. It's mandated by RA 9155. But that's not really the case. You do the planning because it has important effects to your people and it saves you time in your execution. And much more than that, it makes you achieve whatever you wanted to be achieved for your people. Okay? So, always remember, no, that if you fail to plan, you're actually planning to fail. No? So, always put that in your head. As a leader, I need to plan. And very important lang. Okay? Last na kong reminder that I want to share to you. Your journey in the principal's exam is the same. You start with that. You want to apply the SIP, the continuous improvement policy, the Kaizen in your life. Start with your activities in planning for the exam. What things can you do in order for you to really start studying seriously about the principal's test? Remember kung sa PIA pa ni, sa priority improvement areas, tanan nga mga indicators dito, urgency. No? Kinahanglan ba mo mahimong principal item? That's very urgent. No? I'll rate that 100. 10 ang highest, I'll rate that 100. Is it feasible? Kaya man gina naman kaning you are already in the pathway, no? You are already a principal, you're already a school head, no? To the eyes of the community, you are even called the principal. So you are there. No? In terms of effect to other strategic importance. If you become a principal, it will affect your life. People will respect you more. Now, honestly, that's true. No, when I passed the principal's test, I was the highest. I was top 8 in Region 7. I was number 1 in our division office. Pero mas bright yung Sir Jamilo kay number 2 to sa whole Philippines, no? So, grabe sa experience si Jamilo in the back, no? During that time, I was only unsa naman ko ato. I was school head, pero I was a very young school head, no? I'm very new to. I was only 7 years in the Department of Education. So, most of the time, I was a teacher. Mahog nga 4 I think 4 years, no? 4 years experience. So, ana ra. So, experience also matters, no? So, it has a domino effect in many aspects in your life if you pass the test. And I tell you, if you pass the test, you will have more charisma in your arsenal. Because if you pass the test and people knows it, they know that you are a principal. You are a true-blooded principal. Okay? And you will notice how people will treat you differently. No? So, sa tanan nga akong gisulti, feasibility, magnitude, effect kinsay daghan matabangan nimo, mas daghan kag matabangan, no? And strategic impact, it has the highest rating. So, prioritize your studies for the principal's test. Okay, I invite you to listen to my YouTube channel, no? Also, listen to the TikTok of Dr. Sumundong and also to my to my YouTube channel. You can also listen to that. No, and the YouTube channel of Dr. Sumundong. And while you're doing things, I heard when I was a speaker in Bugo City, one of the principals there, I don't even know her, pero she said nga kanang, "Sir, I have a question, pero actually this is not a question. It is I just want to say thank you." No, I was shocked nga naman, ma'am siya. Kanang before I took the principal's test, na-master na ginako imong tingog, sir. Kung ano man, ma'am, siya. Kanang, kung malimpyo ko, magkuan ko sa balay, instead of reading, I just listen to your lectures, no? And I've learned a lot in your lectures, no? That made me really pass the examination. So you can do those things, no? In your day-to-day life. So you plan. No, what will be your study time? When are you going to study? No, what are you going to do? When do you best analyze yourself? No, katong giingon ni Dr. Sumundong, analyze yourself. How do you actually learn best? No, know yourself. Know your enemies. What are your enemies? Your enemy actually is not the test. No, the test is your friend. The enemy here are your temptations that will bring you away from your preparation. Number 1, YouTube nga kanang lingaw-lingaw ra nga YouTube. No? Instead of doing that, block all those channels. Ang imurag yung i-subscribe kanira yung channel namo ni Dr. Sumundong. Dayon, number 2, kaning Facebook nga nonsense na kaayo, no? Sige lang gyud kag tan-aw sa ilang kinabuhi. Wala na nimo ati man na imong kinabuhi. Sige lang kag suya-suya. Did you know that majority of what we post is not real? No? All of them are pretensions. No, ang hambog ra gid nato ang positive ra, but it's not the real context of their lives. So which one will you live? No, the life of those people, no, or your real life? No, so you have to make a choice. Instead of watching movies, you listen to lectures. Instead of listening to music, listen to our voices, no, helping you achieve your dreams. So you plan, no, plan how you're going to make it to the next principles test, because the people that you'll be helping are waiting for you. As the leader, as an improved version of yourself, you have to be better. You have to be more educated, no, and more knowledgeable, because only then can you help a lot of people, a lot of teachers, and a lot of learners. Okay, so I think that ends my session. I hope you learned something from that. Okay, I'll turn you over now to Ma'am Jen and Dr. Simon. Thank you, everyone.